Very good. So the meeting has been called to order. Let me get the roll. Anita Rankin.
Here.
Yes, speak, please. Thank you. Ilya Sloan.
Here.
Christopher Doman.
Present.
Hallie Freitas.
Here.
Julie Evans.
Here.
Siri Trumbull.
Present.
Alex Oberlich.
Here.
And I'm here, Susan Aiken. Thank you for that. Can we have a motion on the minutes? Are there any questions about the minutes from the last meeting?
I motion to accept the minutes as proposed.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Anita Rankin.
Ilya moves to accept the minutes and Anita seconds. Next on the agenda is a call to the audience. Do we have any observations there? Michael, did you have anybody signing in for that?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, then we'll go ahead to the review. And I guess, Julie, at this point, we'll have to ask you to recuse yourself.
Yes, sure.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank
Of
you.
course.
Julie, do you have the chance to meet the new historic preservation officer? We
I
have
not.
a new historic preservation officer in the name of Desiree Aranda.
Nice
She's
to
right
meet
here
you.
with us. So
You.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here and to work with you all. So, but actually,
Likewise.
before you hop off, I don't know, was a vote taken on the legal action report? I know there was a motion and a second.
We
Yeah,
need to do the
yes.
vote.
We did. Everybody voted.
yeah, it was 8-0.
Oh, okay. I just missed that. All right.
Okay, thank you. Julie, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll now move on to our review of the project at Court and Meyer. Axel?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So
Thank you.
Before this
Go ahead.
project, Madam Chair, you recall that you saw it before as a minor review on February 26th. You couldn't take any action at that time because it was scheduled as a minor review.
As a courtesy review.
As a courtesy review. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the architect is coming back today, probably to do the same presentation as it was done last time. Today will be the day that the board will be required to take an action on this presentation. So we are going to make Axel the co-host. Desiree, can you make him the co-host?
Desiree, you're muted.
Sorry about that. What is the name of the person I'm making co-host?
Axel.
Okay.
Axel Golden.
Make co-host. Yes. All right, there we should be working.
All right, let me see if I can do this here for you guys. All right. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So also just to be clear, this is the exact same presentation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Not a thing has changed. It's actually the same submission from the same date and everything in the portal too.
So I guess the question might be, because Christopher Doman was not available to sit in on the courtesy review, if Christopher has any additional questions or has had a chance to look at the plans.
I reviewed the project. And I'd love to see the review if we could just take a chance to go through it one more time.
Super.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is a separate review from the other review, so the architect can just go through this very quickly for the recording and for the record that we keep, so that we at least have the record that the full review was actually done.
Very good. Axel,
All right. So here is the house. Here's a couple pictures of the house. We're 425 North Court, obviously. It was built in 2004. It's technically a duplex, but it's two houses connected to each other. So our house is this one on the corner here. You can see it has a driveway here on the facing west, and that's where we're proposing to build the small office space and a storage space as well. Let's see what else about on this. We're doing a step parapet, and we are taking cues from the development zone, particularly across the street. There's some massing forms that are similar to what we're proposing. So here's the development zone, and I've clearly marked the property here in red. Again, here's a view. You can really see the hip roof, and you can see the area here where my cursor is. That's where we're going to propose the structure. And then this is sort of a map, a diagram that's showing some of the forms across the street that are doing similar things that we're proposing in this project. So the forms here are sort of positive and negative voids, and as I scroll to the next one, and I'll pop between them so you can see that those massings here create sort of these green spaces and sort of these private courtyards that are distinctive to the neighborhood. And as you'll see coming up, that's also part of the project here. Here's a view of the street showing the setback, the prevailing setback, how close it is to the sidewalk. Here's another view of that. So you can really see the house here on the left, up on the top left, and then the neighboring properties, the prevailing setback closer to the sidewalk. This photo below is now you can sort of see those forms I was talking about, sort of these like courtyard, privacy making forms. I went thoroughly through all of the design guidelines, but I think we'll skip this page for now and I'll continue on. Okay, so here is a picture of that project that we're proposing. You can see here where the parking spot was. So we're taking that space and we're creating this form right up on the prevailing setback, and we're also creating this sort of corridor that is very characteristic of the neighborhood, we believe. Here's another view from the outside, and what's important about this one is sort of the stepped forms that are also across the street. This image sort of crops out to enunciate that stepped parapet that we are doing here in this proposal. So as we keep down, you can see down the street, this is sort of happening again with a hipped roof and a stepped form. Here's a different view of that same house. Sort of, you can see the single window that's centered, and then the wooden door next to it. Here's another one at the end of the street, which I'm sure most people know because this is a very popular building, but it's next to the market. Again, it's a hipped roof with a stepped parapet below and a single door. Here's some door and window in the development zone. wood, double hung. Here's a site plan, so you can get a technical idea of how that form sits right on the prevailing 0 lot line there. What that door leads to is this small sort of patio, but it's going to be used as bike storage, and that's also an important part of this project because we're going through a variance as well to delete the required parking space that will no longer be provided on the site. So this design is also showing that commitment to biking in the neighborhood. Here's a floor plan. It's pretty simple. That corridor leads back to their backyard, which is particularly different than other homes because being built in 2004, it was developed with a particular land use code that requires there to be this 10 by 10 space in the back of the house. That's basically a courtyard, but it doesn't distinctly say to do that. And then also it requires there to be 200 square foot adjacent to that. So yeah, we're maintaining that, but we're also trying to keep this sort of like enchanting moment here where there's like sort of this view through the door and down this way and a layered space back into a private area, and there's an office here that they can use and a lot of storage. Here's a technical elevation from the west. Here's all 4 elevations. Something specific that we talked about last time was the step here in front. There was like a lot of time spent in this step here, trying to tune the height of the door with the proportion of this form so that we didn't overpower the main building or the historic buildings around it. Yet we're also trying to settle in nicely with the surrounding forms and architecture. So what's happening here is there's a 1 foot step to the finished floor, but there's only a 6-inch step up to this platform. So there's essentially a level of terracing, sort of very subtle terracing sort of happening in there, just to stay really attuned to the heights here. Here's a section through the building. There's going to be a skylight. This is included just for clarity. And that concludes my presentation. I'll open it up to any comments. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Axel.
Thank you.
Are there questions?
So what side did you say you had a setback issue?
Oh, so there's 2. There's to the I'll go to the site plan here.
Site plan.
So this is to the west here, where we're requesting a 0 setback.
Uh-huh.
And then to the south here, we're also requesting a 0 setback.
Okay, thank you. The reason I asked Madam Chair and members of the board is because when you make a motion, one of the recommendations that you will do is to ask that the setback be waived. If you don't do that, then this project will need to go through the design development option application for the setback. But if that is part of your motion, it does not need to go through another process.
Thank you. That's good to know. Christopher, did you have any questions since you were not part of the review last time?
I did. I had 2 questions. Hi, Axel.
Hi.
The first question is just about materials. Tell me about the materials of the door and the window.
Oh yeah. So the stucco, it's going to be stucco. Well, first of all, it's a insulated concrete block form. So it's foam and it's filled with concrete, and then it's going to be stuccoed in a smooth sand stucco finish, light sand stucco, and it's
And what
white.
and what are the existing windows on the house right now, and what new window types and door type are you proposing? What's the material?
So the existing windows are a double hung. Um, they're a double hung, and they're painted wood. They're painted purple, and we're proposing to do a double hung wood window, and it's going to be left clear sealed.
And the door as well?
The door is also going to be wood. It's a Douglas fir wood, and that's going to be clear sealed, so it's going to be left unpainted.
In that kind of board form that you show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have a good picture of it. Oh, here. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. That makes sense. Thank you. So I also had a question about the parking, and I guess I'll leave it up to the neighborhood to discuss the sort of parking needs. I know that there's constant pressure on it, but there's also need for development and densification. So I understand that. I noticed that there's a curb cut currently on the driveway that's existing.
Yeah.
And there's a sidewalk, a new sidewalk, I guess, that was part of this development to the north. And there's this curb cut where it drops down. Is there an adjacent sidewalk to the south, adjacent to the property?
The south.
I think
Yes, there is. There is. Right here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that ties into another sidewalk over there.
Yes. I wish I had. Let me see if my other photos. Um,
But I think-
down here, the sidewalk does fade on this side here.
right, it's not a cement from the corner of the driveway south, is dirt walkway all the way along the whole east side of Meyer. Only the west side of Meyer has an actual standard sidewalk.
Gotcha. So I was thinking about for accessibility and also just for protection of the building. I was wondering if you were going to put that back to a typical curb as opposed to a curb cut.
Well, you know, that would be a right of way thing, and I didn't that would be something I would have to discuss with the homeowners, but I think that because there's going to be bikes, I think it'd be a great way to wheel your bike up. So it might be left that way. We're not proposing to touch the right of way right now.
Got it. Thank you.
The only thing to possibly consider is because Meyer heading north slopes down, and I think you mentioned in the previous review that the reason you're going to have a step up into the entrance, the little walkway into the development, is that a lot of rainwater flows down, and a curb might prevent some of the water coming along the sidewalk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great
So when we've had heavy rains, that corner and all the way down to the wall that borders 6th Street gets heavily flooded.
yeah.
Just something
Yeah.
for the owners to consider.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring that up. If we wanted to include something like that, would that be? Have you ever done sort of minor reviews for that type of thing? It's funny because I actually just had to repair the sidewalk at my house, and I had to get a right-of-way permit and
Oh, my.
and I had to pay for it too because the sidewalk was heaving up. And so somebody reported it on the, the hotline or whatever. And so it's sort of it's a different part of the permitting process that's sort of separate.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
that is separate because it's a Department of Transportation. Historic preservation, we do not do minor review for cut cuts and right of way. It's a Department of Transportation like that.
So if we pulled a permit to to pull the curb around there, would that somehow go to historic review
No,
through?
it will be Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments before we proceed?
I have one question. Thank you again, Axel, for the clear presentation. I enjoyed it the first time. Specifically, its clarity, your study of the neighborhood, the prevailing lot line, the massing and character of the existing buildings and your response. So thank you for that. Electrical lighting, what is your plan for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. I think on my elevation I can show there's two small down lights on the inner corridor. And they are here. They're very small. They're right here.
Oh,
And they point downwards. And they're very soft light. Yellow, very low Kelvin. Yellowish glow. And that's all that we have proposed.
that's great for dark skies.
Yeah.
And heating and cooling for the new unit. How are you planning on dealing with that?
So there'll be a mini split and it's going to be located to the, what is that? To the east. The unit will be concealed here. Right in the corner. Unfortunately, it's got to go somewhere, and that was that's the best spot. I think we would prefer to put it on the roof, but it would be visible. So
Any other questions or further comments?
One last question. Drainage from the roof, where are you bringing that to the ground?
so we haven't come to a definitive solution yet because we would like to keep the rainwater in a tank. So the plan is to conceal it in the wall and bring it to the ground somewhere. We haven't decided which way to slope it yet.
So when you decide to do that, that can be done as a minor review.
Okay.
Because you're not showing it on this plan. So eventually, if you choose to do that, then you can do that as a minor review.
Are there other questions or comments?
Yeah, this is not for historic review, but I was just looking at that's those few steps adjacent to the office door.
Yeah.
And you walk out the office door, those steps are mighty close to the opening. And just from a safety standpoint, I think that question about lighting was a good one. That's not a historic review question, though. That's just a safety question.
Yeah, it's a tight fit for sure.
So Desiree is sending a message on the chat saying that the material for the window is not called out on the plans. Do you have them somewhere, Axel?
The window.
Yes, I thought you said there would be wood. Did you call them out somewhere on the plans?
Yeah, the wood window and the wood door should be called out, the finish and the material.
Exactly, that's what we're asking. Do you have it called out anywhere on the plans?
I have it called out here in the narrative.
No, it still has to be called out on the plans, sir.
And it's also called out on the on this sheet. As for the plans, let me see if it's on the.
If you don't have it on the plan, when you make a motion, it could be one of the things that you will revise your plans to add the material for the door and the wood to be wood. It should be called out on the plan, sir. I know you said it on the narrative, but we want it called out on the plan.
Okay. It'll be on the plans that we submit for permit. So once they have to be reviewed for final historical approval when they get stamped, they'll definitely be there.
So because you are going to go to the PRS plans review subcommittee, the suggestion would be that this advisory board, when they make their recommendation, they will ask you to call out the door and window material on the plan. And if you can revise your plans to call that out before you go to plans review subcommittee, that would be great. But if you
Okay.
want to wait to the last minute when you go to plans review and do one revision, we can also do that. But this will be carried forward to the next one.
Okay.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, please.
Sure.
I propose that we accept this submittal in its entirety with the addition of door and window material and finish and the location of drainage from the roof. Also, I propose that we accept the 0 lot line setback to the west and to the south.
Okay.
Very good. Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Let me just go through the roll. Anita,
I in favor.
Christopher,
In favor.
Ilya,
In favor?
Siri,
In favor.
Alex,
In favor.
Holly,
In favor.
and I'm in favor as well. I don't think I left anybody out. My screen is too small to see everybody. Is there anyone that didn't get to vote? Okay. We have a unanimous vote in favor of the motion. Thank you, Axel.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. I really appreciate your attention and comments.
Such a nice design. We're excited to see it built.
It's all also, just to be clear, it's Juhi and Chris's design as well. We are a big collaboration. They both also went to architecture school, so
Yes, we know that.
Good
Love having
job.
neighbors for that.
and just so everyone else knows, both Siri and Christopher were my professors in school.
They trained you well.
So yeah, it's
Thank you, Axel.
Okay, Alex,
Yes,
I don't know if you're aware that you're not muted.
okay, thank you.
Um,
I think the only thing we have left is, are there any staff updates?
okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna leave. Thank you.
thank you. Bye-bye.
I do not have any update for the board at this point in time. Typically, whenever there's a project that comes up, I am going to contact Iya or Susan for us to schedule this. There may be some minor reviews that I will have, but at this point in time, I really do not have anything. Maybe Desiree has something to say.
Other updates. It was great meeting you all.
Good to meet you too. Welcome again.
Thank you.
This adjourns the meeting. Thank you all very much for attending. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Have a good night.
Susan, for
Thank you.
chairing.
Bye.
Good night.
Good
Good night, everyone.